Hey everyone, today we're diving into why continuously variable transmissions, or CVTs, get so much hate. They're designed for fuel efficiency and smooth operation, which sounds great, right? But car enthusiasts often dislike them. Let's unpack the top 10 reasons why CVTs get so much hate and see if they're really as bad as some people say. Let's get started. Alright, let's kick things off with one of the biggest complaints about CVTs, the lack of driving engagement. With a traditional automatic or manual transmission, you feel those distinct gear shifts, that little jolt as the car changes gears, the engine revs matching the acceleration. It's part of the driving experience, that connection between you and the car. CVTs, on the other hand, try to be super smooth. They continuously adjust their gear ratios without those noticeable steps. While this might sound great for a comfortable ride, it can actually make driving feel really dull. It's like the car is doing all the work and you're just along for the ride. You don't get that same level of feedback, that sense of control that you get with a traditional transmission. For a lot of drivers, especially those who enjoy the act of driving itself, this lack of engagement is a major drawback. Next up, we've got another common complaint, the infamous rubber band effect. Imagine this, you're at a stoplight and the light turns green. You hit the gas expecting that immediate surge forward, but instead the engine revs up high, making that whiny noise, and the car takes its time to actually accelerate. It's like the car is attached to a giant rubber band that's being stretched before it finally slingshots you forward. That's the rubber band effect in a nutshell. It makes the car feel sluggish and unresponsive, like it's lagging behind your inputs. This happens because of how CVTs work. Instead of having fixed gears, they use a belt and pulley system that can adjust the gear ratio infinitely within a certain range. This delay between your input and the car's response is what creates that frustrating rubber band feel. Now, let's talk about the CVT soundtrack. And no, I'm not talking about your favorite driving playlist. One of the most common complaints about CVTs is that they create this constant droning noise, especially during acceleration. You know that sound, it's like a high-pitched whine that seems to go on forever. This droning happens because of how CVTs manage engine speed. Unlike traditional transmissions that allow the engine RPM to rise and fall naturally with gear changes, CVTs tend to hold the engine at a constant RPM while the car accelerates. This constant droning can be incredibly annoying and fatiguing for both drivers and passengers. It's like having a tiny, whiny passenger that never stops talking. Okay, let's shift gears now and address the elephant in the room: durability. One of the biggest reasons why drivers are wary of CVTs is the concern over their long-term reliability. Traditional automatic transmissions use a system of gears and clutches that can handle a lot of wear and tear. CVTs, on the other hand, rely on a belt or chain system to connect the engine to the wheels. While this belt and pulley system is great for smooth gear changes, it also introduces a potential point of failure. These belts and chains can wear out over time, especially under heavy use, or if the transmission isn't properly maintained, and when they go, it's often a catastrophic failure that can leave you stranded. Getting a CVT repaired or replaced is not something you want to put off. Speaking of CVT repairs, let's talk about the cost of owning one of these transmissions. Repairing or replacing a CVT is significantly more expensive than fixing a traditional automatic transmission. This is because CVTs are more complex and specialized than their traditional counterparts. They require specialized tools, training and parts, which all add up to a hefty price tag. In many cases, if a CVT fails, the entire unit has to be replaced. Unlike traditional automatics, which can often be rebuilt with new parts, CVTs are often treated as sealed units. So instead of just replacing a faulty solenoid or a worn-out clutch pack, you're looking at replacing the entire transmission. It's like having to replace your entire smartphone just because the battery died. Not exactly budget-friendly. Ouch. All right, let's turn up the heat and talk about another challenge that CVTs face: heat management. CVTs tend to run hotter than traditional transmissions, and this can lead to some serious long-term reliability issues. All that friction from constantly adjusting the gear ratio generates a lot of heat. Over time, this excessive heat can degrade the belt or chain, leading to premature wear and tear. Automakers have implemented various cooling systems for CVTs, but it's still a concern, especially for drivers who frequently tow heavy loads or live in hot climates. Excessive heat can shorten the lifespan of a CVT, leading to those expensive repairs we talked about earlier. Now, let's talk about performance. CVTs are great for fuel efficiency, but when it comes to high-performance applications, they tend to fall a bit flat. Traditional automatic transmissions, especially those with multiple gears and sport-tuned software, can handle high torque and aggressive driving without breaking a sweat. CVTs, on the other hand, often struggle to keep up in these demanding situations. They can feel sluggish and unresponsive when you put the pedal to the metal, and that rubber band effect we talked about earlier. Yeah, it's even more pronounced when you're pushing the car hard. It's like trying to win a drag race with a grocery getter. It's not designed for that kind of performance. For all you gearheads and car enthusiasts out there, this next point is for you. One of the downsides of CVTs is their limited aftermarket support. Traditional manual and automatic transmissions have a thriving aftermarket scene. You can find everything from performance clutches and short-throw shifters to high-stall torque converters and transmission control units, or TCUs, that let you fine-tune your shifts, but with CVTs, not so much. The aftermarket for CVT upgrades is pretty much non-existent. There are a few companies that offer upgraded belts or pulleys, but for the most part, what you see is what you get. If you're hoping to swap out your CVT for a performance-built unit or install a shift kit, you're fresh out of luck. Let's talk about the overall driving experience with a CVT. Driving is a sensory experience, right? You feel the road through the steering wheel, you hear the engine roar, and you feel the car respond to your inputs. But with a CVT, that connection between you and the car can feel a bit off. Some drivers describe it as an artificial or video game-like driving experience. This disconnect stems from the fact that CVTs don't have those distinct gear steps that you get with traditional transmissions. Instead of feeling that satisfying surge as the car shifts up, you get this smooth, continuous acceleration that can feel a bit strange and unfamiliar. And finally, let's wrap things up with a topic that's on a lot of drivers' minds: reliability. CVTs have come a long way in terms of reliability, but there's still a lingering perception that they're not as dependable as their traditional counterparts. The reliability of CVTs can vary greatly depending on the automaker and even the specific model. Some manufacturers, like Toyota and Honda, have a pretty good track record with their CVTs. They've been using them for years and have ironed out many of the early kinks, but other automakers, well, not so much. There have been some high-profile cases of CVT failures, particularly with certain Nissan models that have left a lot of drivers feeling burned. This inconsistency in reliability makes it tough for buyers to fully embrace CVT technology. So, there you have it. 10 reasons why drivers have a love-hate relationship with CVTs. On the one hand, they offer improved fuel efficiency and smooth operation, which are definitely appealing qualities, especially in today's world. But on the other hand, they come with some significant drawbacks. That lack of driving engagement, the droning engine noise, the dreaded rubber band effect, and the concerns about durability, these are all factors that can make CVTs a hard sell for many drivers. If you prioritize reliability, performance, and that visceral connected driving experience, then a traditional automatic or a manual transmission might still be the better choice for you. But hey, technology is always evolving, right? Maybe automakers will find ways to address these CVT shortcomings and win over the skeptics. What do you guys think? Would you consider buying a car with a CVT, or do you prefer to stick with the tried and true? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.